Hello fellow bibliophiles, and welcome back to Blatantly Bookish. I'm Marissa, and today I am thrilled to announce this year's Victober readathon. I am so excited for Victober this year, and I'm so grateful to be co-hosting again with the same lovely ladies from last year. There's Kate Howe and Katie from Books and Things, of course, as well as Petra from Petra U and Roz from Scally Dandling About the Books. I'll link all their channels and announcement videos down below for you to check out. And even if you are familiar with Victober and love their channels already, I really encourage you to check out their announcement videos because they each talk in depth about their challenges and give some great recommendations. If you are new to BookTube or unfamiliar with Victober and wondering what on earth I am going on about, Victober is a month-long readathon that focuses on reading Victorian literature in the month of October. So that's British and Irish literature that was published or written between 1837 and 1901. All you really have to do to participate is to read just one piece of Victorian literature. But if you want to devote your whole month to the Victorians, we have some challenges and a group read-along for you to enjoy. Please make sure to discuss your reading this month with the hashtag Victober on any and all social media platforms. And this year, we are introducing a Discord server for Victober that I encourage you guys to all join. If you're very attached to Goodreads, don't worry, the Victober Goodreads group will still exist, but the hosts will be much more active in responding to messages and moderating things on Discord this year. So without further ado, let's chat about the challenges for this year's Victober. Kate's challenge this year is to read a Victorian work featuring a stranger or outsider. She's noticed the stranger or outsider figure crop up as a theme in a bunch of Victorian works lately, and I can't wait to hear all of her thoughts on the subject. Katie's challenge this year is to read a piece of Victorian New Woman fiction. Katie will inevitably describe what this is more comprehensively in her announcement video, but from what she's told me, it's very late Victorian literature, like 1880s and onwards, and it's associated with the New Woman movement. I can't wait to hear Katie describe this challenge further and see what books she recommends for this one. Petra's challenge is to read a Victorian first-person narrative. Most Victorian novels are written in third person, but there are a handful of books written in first person as well. I'll leave it to Petra to discuss loads of them in her announcement video. But I should also mention that this challenge and many of the other challenges could incorporate other genres besides novels if you so desire. A Victorian work could be a play, a poem, short story, or a piece of nonfiction. Really, any genre will do. And for Petra's challenge, letters or memoirs can count as first-person narratives too. Roz's challenge is to read a Victorian work in which class features strongly. Class is such an important and prevalent theme in Victorian literature, and there are so many great Victorian works that explore the nuances and complexities of Victorian class structure. The group read, which I'll get to in a little bit, is definitely one of those books that fits beautifully for this challenge if you are so inclined to join us. And last but not least is my challenge, which is to read a Victorian work by an author who is new to you. I wanted to pick something that would be nice and broad and encourage you to expand your horizons with Victorian literature. If there's a Victorian author you've been meaning to try for the first time but haven't gotten around to, now is your chance. And for this challenge, you can of course read any genre as long as the author is one that you've never read before. If you're new or newer to Victorian literature, you could use this challenge as an opportunity to introduce yourself to one of the greats, one of the more famous Victorian authors like Charles Dickens, Thomas Hardy, the Bronte sisters, George Eliot, Elizabeth Gaskell, Anthony Trollope, Oscar Wilde, Wilkie Collins, etc. And if you're an avid reader of Victorian literature, this is your opportunity to read a more obscure or underrated author. I have a long, rather comprehensive list of Victorian authors that I found on the Victorian web, which I will link down below in case you want some more inspiration. There are hundreds of authors on there, many of which I love, some of which I've heard of but haven't actually read anything by, and many of which I've never heard of before. And if you've never read anything by Anthony Trollope before, then the group read this year is something you might consider for my challenge. The group read for 2023 is The Way We Live Now by Anthony Trollope, and it's a great place to start with Trollope's work, especially if you aren't interested in committing to a long series like the Chronicles of Barsetshire or the Palliser novels. It's decidedly not part of a series. This book is one of his standalone books, and it is absolutely wonderful. It's considered by some to be Trollope's masterpiece. The book centers around Mr. Melmotte, who is a very rich and corrupt financier, and we follow all of the various people who get caught up in his fraudulent railroad scheme. Trollope portrays a world of immorality, deceit, and vice, complete with bribery, vendettas, swindlers, gamblers, and broken engagements. The Way We Live Now discusses themes of class and respectability, money, gender, and marriage, so really all of the best Victorian themes. There are multiple plot lines which Trollope weaves together expertly. It's perfectly paced, and it's just a wonderful, wonderful book. I first read this one 5 years ago now with Katie, actually, and I'm very excited to revisit it again. And it meets 2 or 3 of the challenges, depending on if you've read Trollope before. You can use the group read for Kate Howe's challenge, as it does feature an outsider or stranger figure. And this book is all about class, so you can definitely count it towards Roz's challenge. Also, like I said, it could count towards my challenge if you've never read Trollope before. This is a pretty chunky book, so we'll be reading it throughout the course of the entire month. We plan to read 3 chapters on weekdays and 4 chapters on the weekends. I'll put the exact schedule in the description box, but it's also posted on the Discord server. So I do hope you'll consider joining us for the group read this year, and I hope you're as excited for Victober as I am. I'd love to hear in the comments down below if you're taking part in Victober this year. Do you think you'll participate in the group read? Do you already have some ideas as to what you plan on reading? I can't wait to put my TBR together this year. Oh, and I'd also love your input if you have any Victober related videos that you would like to see from me. I have some vague video ideas already, but I'd really like to hear if there are any specific topics that you'd want me to do videos on as well. I can't wait to hear all of your Victober thoughts in the comment section down below. And until next time, I look forward to seeing you in another bookish video very soon. Bye!